Hello and welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. I hope we're all doing really well on this Sunday, the 3rd of August. I can't believe it's already the 3rd of August. It doesn't half go quickly, so I hope we're all doing really well today. I'm feeling a little bit sorry for myself as I have COVID. I don't know where the hell that come from. I have children, so it could come from a number of places, but COVID is not going to stop me from talking to you amazing people. It makes me feel better. So that's where I'm at today. So if my voice goes a bit funny or I start to snivel, then that's why. But let's see how we do. J United, hello mate. I hope you're doing really well today, my friend. Legend of the chat. As always, I just thought it'd be really good. I know this has probably already been done to death already, but I think it's important for us as a community to talk about it as well. I feel bad when we don't talk about this stuff, so we're gonna go through it. So, what's been happening today is that, as we said last night as well, is that the only way Newcastle are going to steal a march on United is basically by launching another bid, and that's what they've gone to do. So Jacobs, so Ben, he has come out in the last couple of hours, basically said that Newcastle have basically improved their 75 million euro bid plus 5, offering to Leipzig with an optimism and a fee structure can be agreed. Fixed fee already meets Leipzig's valuation. Manchester United also held talks with Leipzig on Saturday evening. So where are we with this? Now the bid is not being disclosed as of yet. So, it's going to be that much improved than that 69.8, 69.9 bid that has gone in. Now, again, I've remained calm on this one. And we've had a load of debates on here, which I think is really important to do. Before I really go into it, what I'm going to say is, if you're new here, welcome. Obviously, chuck a like on here. It really does help us out and really be part of this amazing community that we're building on here from all over the world. We have some amazing chats on here. We even get infiltrated by some other fans of some other clubs, but you are more than welcome here. The only thing that I ask is that we be respectful to each other's views and opinions. Ultimately, I am not a dictator on here, so I will more than happily let you drive chats as long as kind of it's in and about the club and kind of the subject matter. But I don't mind being pushed from pillar to post and the things that you find important and the topics that you want to talk about. And obviously, if you misbehave, then of course we will boot you out of the chat. So just be respectful. Hesty13, hello my friend. I was panicking yesterday. Now I'm calm. Mate, I've been calm the whole way through. I've just basically reported the news. Doesn't mean that I'm right. Fermin Lopez isn't for sale. I didn't think he was. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I didn't think he was for sale either. We're going to be linked to a bunch of names now because we are going to go after a centre midfielder. So I think you're spot on. But that one would be a pipe dream. Belieber as well has been mentioned by us, by so many other people, but again, I think that's just a pipe dream. So again, logically, the reason why I've been calm, and I'll give you my reasonings for being calm, is that Newcastle could have got this done if Shesco wanted to go to Newcastle, and I'll give my opinion on that as well. Newcastle obviously launched a bid last week, and they're ready to go. They've got a buy for Isaac. They know that they're there with 130 million. They tried to lowball them with a 110 million pound bid. If that's a lowball, that's ridiculous. But they've been ready to go for a week now. As I've said many times before, if you look at everything that's happened, and I have gone with Ross Harwood on this one, he's basically said that he wants to come to the club. If you look at who we've got at the club, we've been talking to him for such a long time. Everything logically all points to the fact that I think we've already done this deal. We've agreed with the player. The player wants us to commit to him, and once we've got that buy-in from the player, then we will launch a bid. So, so Jacobs is right, and Romana, this has come from these guys as well, is that the bid at the moment is inconsequential. So Rob says, big up JB and all in the chat. Don't let these deals drag on. Exactly, Rob, and welcome on this Sunday morning. The bid at the moment from Newcastle is a desperation bid, and I think what we said last night and what we said before that on other shows, I truly and I have believed this and I've maintained this and I've been on this train for a long time, is that we've already agreed to deal with Shesco, but it's not in Shesco's camp, it's not in his agent's camp, and it's not in Leipzig's interest to basically commit to one club just yet. To me, Shesco just isn't worth this much. It's a huge gamble. If we had working on striker already that can bag us goals and is fit, and we didn't need other positions sorted, then I'll be happier. As always, Jay, you do make some amazing points, and I will come back to that. Hesty says, JB, can you review Amarin's recent interview maybe later after you talk about the transfer window? I haven't watched it. I haven't watched that myself, only on the basis that I've basically been asleep pretty much, feeling sorry. So I will watch that, but I think I will do a watch along tonight, and I think I'll do a slightly earlier show. The match kicks off about 10, so I'll jump on and maybe at 9, and maybe we can talk about that then, and I think that'd be a good point to talk about. That give me an opportunity to catch up with the day. So to go back to Shesco, there does come a point, and I agree with you, there comes a point where Shesco, so Newcastle have put in this extra bid. We don't know what that bid is. I do think the bid is inconsequential at the moment. I think United will match that, but then that goes back to what Jay is saying as well, and we can talk, we can go through that as well. But I do agree with you. There does come a point where the money involved gets so big, and this again alludes to the other part of this thumbnail as well, is that Shesco's agent has been holding this up because he's not been here. Apparently he's been doing other deals, so I don't think Shesco's been thinking about this at all. I think he's just been waiting for his agent to come in. So I think where we're at, and this is kind of makes logical sense as well to me, is that it's not in Leipzig's interest, it's not in the agent's interest, because agents, as we know, all get fees. It's not in the interests of Shesco either to say that they want to come out and they want to go to one club, because they're in a bidding war right now. Newcastle are the ones who are trying to drive this. They're going all in, but Newcastle have their limits as well. So they're not a City. They can't just go and offer like 100 million, 400k a week, because they just can't do, because they are, again, their hands are tied by FFP, PSR, and all that good stuff as well. But Jay, I think you make a good point. At what point does this become an unviable deal? Now, the problem is, and again, as we've spoken about, so if you're new here, don't forget to chuck a like on the video. It does really help us out. Is that everybody knows now, because when you commit to a player, because we couldn't do what Arsenal did and play Gyökeres off against Shesco, we can't play off Shesco against Watkins. That would have been ideal for us to do, but we can't do that now. So whatever happens, if it's Shesco or bust, then basically it's Watkins for 60 million, and Watkins for 60 million to me is too expensive as well. He's going to ask for 250k a week. But at what point do we go, these deals are too much to do? Now this goes, and again, I'm not having a pop at anyone who's been in the chat yesterday, but we did have a chat yesterday about how Sporting Gold, legend of the chat, really put some amazing comments on here, and it's really good to debate that out. But one of the things that he said that stuck in my head was that how he felt the Glazers, or Inos, as much as he can't stand them, were doing a good job, and I don't give them credit enough. And I think that's, as a comment, I think that's fair enough point. Now, we got backed into a deal with the Embermo deal, and he's going to finally play tonight. So I'm looking forward to watching that match. We took 7 weeks to do that deal, and now we've backed ourselves into a Shesco deal. Now, Shesco is not our first choice. And storming a teacup. What wages will Shesco be on? Right now, my friend, is anybody's guess. Newcastle were prepared to go hard on this one. So if Newcastle are I mean, give you an indication of the wage. So they won't pay Isaac 300k a week. So are they prepared to do that? I don't think they are. Is Shesco going to want 250k a week? I should imagine that's what he's basically going to ask for. If the wages will dictate, I think 150, 180, and that's pushing it. But if Newcastle push this to 200, 250, I think that we're gonna. Some people are not going to be happy. What time's the kickoff later? It's 10 o'clock, mate. 10 o'clock this evening, UK time. So I think we're looking at. I would like a wage 150 to 180. I think those are big wages there, but I think we're looking at 220 to 250. I'm not down for that, but if United are gonna try and get this deal done, Newcastle are gonna make our life very, very, very difficult. Yeah, it is 10 o'clock today. So yes, so at what point does this become too expensive as a deal to do? So Newcastle are going to launch another bid, and they have. I think it's going to be around 72, 73, and I will still maintain as a financial deal, it makes sense, but it still doesn't drive away the fact that it's very expensive. And to come back to the point I think I was trying to make as well is that the glazers of Inos, and as much as other people come on and on here and allude to the fact that we need to give them credit, and we I thought SummerSlam was last night, wasn't it? I'll be watching that instead. I thought SummerSlam was last night, wasn't it? Or am I just being an idiot? I'm not going to tell you what happened, but it's on Netflix. I thought I watched it this morning. Maybe. I thought that was last night. Glinios out. Exactly. So, maybe I'm retarded then. So, for those who are trying to say that Inos and it's tonight. Okay, cool. Maybe I watched it from last year then. So, anyone in the chat, SummerSlam is okay, that makes sense. Okay, I must have watched part one last night then. Oh, it's SummerSlam is a two-parter. Amazing. It's changed from when I was back in the day. I remember SummerSlam 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, amazing times. So Ineos have backed us into a corner. Rambo, what was I still love that name? Welcome. Yes, I hope you're right. I'm feeling okay. I'm not feeling peak, but I'm feeling okay. Not too bad, my friend. So this is another deal. If we do 75, 250k a week, okay, we've got this done. But this is it's another. I'm not going to call it a bad deal, but it's another panic deal. And Shesco is our whether we like it or not, Gyökeres, the lap deal we messed up. I think we looked at Ekitike as well. We can't deny that. Glory, Man United. Yeah, that's right. I agree with you on that one, my friend. But it's another, Ekitike, we went in for that deal. Watkins as well. So basically, Shesco is our choice, and it is another panic buy. So we've not changed as a club, and we can spin this. And I know Shesco, and I know we're excited about this. Tensu says Newcastle prepare another offer by improving the last one, but it depends on the play side. Chesco's leaning. Exactly, mate. I don't think Shesco is leaning towards us at all. I think he's already lent. I think he's fallen over inside of our camp, mate. He's. I don't think he's ever. Today we have a game with them. We'll defeat them 4-0. I hope so. I hope so. I think that would be another good win. I mean, we've already won the Premier League thing, right? So, G-Wolf Unit, back in the day when I was a nipper, I used to watch B3 on Sky Sports. Yeah, no, I used to watch it on Channel 4. So you used to get the odd random event. Like, I think it was, I can't remember what it was called, but you used to get them on Channel 4. As well for free, and then obviously it went on its own thing then. But yeah, I was very lucky to watch the Attitude Era, you know, all over that one. You know, classic as well. You know, when it sort of became prime. I think my age group, particularly if you're into football and into sports. I mean, we had prime stuff. I mean, I was very fortunate, right? I saw prime wrestling, prime football. I mean, you know, I was there. Hogan, like Yokozuna. I remember the Undertaker's first match. I remember Stone Cold when Stone Cold was on WCW, I think it was, and then he changed his persona. Rocky when he became The Rock. Hunter Hearst Helmsley, you know, all those lot, you know, like the China days, you know, and then obviously you then had the Attitude Era, you know, you sort of had all that. I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, that was fantastic, you know. Yeah, I love that as well. I could talk about that as well. So basically, I don't think we're at a stalemate, and I don't think Shesco's leaning towards us. I think he's already made his choice. I think this is about trying to get the best deal and as much money as they can, and I've maintained this, and when it happens, I'm not gonna sit here and gloat. I don't think we should sit here and gloat. I've just been calm. I think logic at times will dictate, and also on the same factor, if Newcastle get him because they've launched an audacious bid, then I will hold my hands up and say, look, you know, I was wrong, but the only way that Newcastle are going to get this deal done is if they pay him ridiculous amounts of wages and they offer money, and it becomes a financially unviable deal. So Newcastle are going to launch another bid. So I just don't think for a second that Shesco wants to go to Newcastle. So I think that and I've maintained this since earlier this week. I think the moment that Newcastle, logically, right, look at it in this way. Newcastle made their bid last week. They could have wrapped it all up by the end of the week and not give us an opportunity to launch this. If Shesco really wanted to go to Newcastle, it would be done already. It would be absolutely done. We'd have no leg to stand on. It would have got done, and they would have caught us on the hop. But Shesco and his agent is not stupid, and they want the most money that they can. But I do agree. As much as I think, as long as it is a sensible price, I don't think we're going to lose out on the deal as such, but I do agree that it does become financially unviable and it becomes a panic buy. So if it goes up to 75 mil, then they're going to spin it as it's a good deal. But we all know it's a glazer deal. You may get your wish there, my friend. So don't you end stream. What is going on with this stream? Come on. Alright, excellent condition, back on. Here we go. So the stream is just backed off there. So it's an irritant when the stream, and I really don't have the patience for that today. Where are we? Let's have a little look. Yeah, that's right. Love the Attitude Era. United will get £7.5 million today. It'll be finished. Exactly. I mean, every little helps, right? And I mean the fact that as a fan base, I think the Liverpool fan that came on here last night. I'm not going to mention his name, just because I'm just not going to, because it was a little bit of a rude name. I'm not a prude, but I'm not going to do that. He did make a good point, and I can't argue with the point that he made. Was that, you know, when we are celebrating and we are going like we're going to finish 7th or 8th, and we're celebrating and we're talking about getting £7 million from, you know, because we need the money, you know, and as Mark Harris says, you know, I will come to that, is that, are we a serious club anymore? We're not, are we? You know, that's when you know we're not a serious club anymore, is when we are literally debating and celebrating and about 7 million that, you know, we that shouldn't even come into our minds. But we've been what's the word I'm looking for? The Glazers, the Glazers have managed to infiltrate our minds, right? So it's like I can't think. My brain is dead today, but I'll come back to it. What else we got? Robert Waters, please, I'll take Shesco. I personally think we'll get Shesco because of the connection. Rambo, I've always thought that he's going to come to us, mate. I've never dissuaded from that opinion. I've reported news and I've gone in and said that there are ways that I can see that Newcastle will get this deal done, but I've never thought that for a second. I left it on some stupid bid. That's the only way right now that he's going to go there. Mark Harris, a legend of the chat and a mod, absolute legend, my friend. United are not a serious club, just bums and seats. Why not totally clear out? Pay the bums out. Mid-table, again, fans seem happy though. Yeah, Mark, and again, I love your comments, because you really do open that debate up. And again, just get in this chat, give us a thumbs up. You know, we have so many different views and opinions on here. You know, we've got the likes of Tensu J, Mark, Rambo in here. You know, fantastic opinions on that. So, Mark, I think you're right, and I think it goes back to kind of the point. It's a coincidence there, to the point that I think I was making there, was that we have been so starved of performance that we'd be happy being 6th, 7th, 8th, right? And I agree with you. It is about bums on seats, and that goes to this £4,000 licensing thing just to get a ticket and just to book your space. And it is about bums on seats. You know, we can't afford to clear out. We need a total clear out. You know, if we were a serious club, whether you like him or not, Fernandes would be gone. He'd be the first name out the door. You make an example and you go, look, we're a serious club. You get him out the door and you get 110, 120 million, and you go and get, a Belieber. You give the captain the armband to a Cunha. You know, Shesco, as much as I think he'll be great. You go and get your first choice signing. You get a world class keeper. You get maybe 2 midfielders, you get 2 strikers, you get Sancho out, you just get these players out. But we can't do that because we are financially crippled, and that ultimately is part of it as well. And this is why Inos for me need to go, because when you come into a club and you don't clear the debt, they've enabled them, and we are now suffering. So as a fan base, I think you're right. I think you are. The fan base is so starved, 15th, they've almost got a bye, right? If we finish 8th, in my opinion, which is sort of mid-table, really, for us, I don't accept it. But I've even said I'd be happy-ish with that. So we give Amorim like another season. But I'm falling victim to what I'm saying. I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite there myself, because I'm saying that I'm happy. I'm not really. But I know deep down that's pretty much what we can do. So I am hoping for a change. I'm hoping for more players, and let's see what they can do by the end of the window. There is some Garnacho news as well that we can talk about that, and a little bit about Anthony on that one as well, Mark. But I think you do make a good point as well. Christian signed him when he was 16. Rambo. Mark says you need a midfielder to feed Shesco. Bruno, ain't it? It's going to be... I don't know how that's going to work, mate. I mean, don't forget, we do have those 2 number 10s, you know. In Burmo, Cunha, you know, they are assisters. They do assist as well. So if Shesco comes in, you know, we are... I can only go by what I've seen so far, and I have seen the more push to get players into the box to feed the striker. The Rasmus goal was really good. The Ahmad goal was great. So if Shesco comes in, and if we are going to get him in, we cannot do what we did to Rasmus, or we can't do to him what we did to Rasmus. So and I agree, the only way that it's going to work for Shesco is that we get balls into that box and we make sure that we give him the ball, and then we've got no excuse. Jay says, true though, it isn't G Wolf. 80s and 90s are the best era. Yeah, I think early noughties, 90s and 80s were the best era for WWF, and then of course E. Let's have a little look. What else are we saying on here? Let's have a little look. The Glazers completely. Yeah, I agree. They didn't give up on our bullet. Exactly, mate. They are enemies, and I will happily bang that drum. In every single video that we do. I would never be dissuaded from the fact that they're still not doing a good job. They need to do more, and they facilitated the Glazers, who are enemies of this club. Rob says Garner only wants Chelsea. Let's cash in then. I agree with you, mate. And actually, I think that's a good way to segue in. I will come back to the and I'll go down the chats and then we'll come back to that, Rob, because that's part of the show today. Liverpool fans tend to posting fake news about Shesco to make stress. I've seen that as well, mate. I saw one that basically said they said that we got snubbed by Gyökeres, which is not really true. We were in for him, but we lost the final, and we never went back in for him. We got snubbed by Delap, which is true. Okay, I accept that one. We got snubbed by Ekitike. Well, we didn't really get snubbed. We inquired, but we never launched the bid, and you know, he was on our list. I think that's true, but we were never really in for him as well. Apparently we're getting snubbed by Shesco, we've been snubbed by Europe and some other nonsense as well. Now, Liverpool fans, and we do get some on here, and I like certain people that come on here. Right? I got LFC, and he's fantastic. So it doesn't apply to them all, but I think that they won the league, and this is a little bit of banter really for them, is that they've signed these amazing players, but no one's talking about them. Like, literally nobody is talking about them. They're still trying to sign players. They're still trying to sign every player under the sun. They're an efficient team. They've had an amazing window. They've just won the league, and they are trying to future-proof their team. I get that, but the biggest show in town is us on Shesco. That's fact. That we are still the biggest draw in town. So there's some Liverpool fans, not all. The relevancy of that is they're trying to make pages because they don't have communities like ours. They just don't. And they're just trying to get others and media interested in them. They're a fantastically run football club. That can't be argued. But we are still the biggest club, and we are still the biggest draw. And that's where it comes from. Robert Rambo says, I personally like that we are making progress. I do. I like that Amrin is working well. Mark Harris is not going to be pleased with me on this one. I think Amrin is working his magic. I think that he is proving himself as a coach. But caveat, pre-season. No pressure is on this team, so let's see if he can translate that into performances. Are we progressing in the players that we're trying to sign? Yes. Are we progressing in the amounts we're paying for players? Nope. We're not. We still paying what these teams want, so we're not progressing there. Are we still taking time to do deals? Yes. Are we progressing there? No. As a club, we are we're trying to make waves, but the only reason we're trying to make waves is because we're cutting costs, and we're trying to slim down because not because Inos are trying to make us a sustainable business until this regeneration thing happens. Now, there's some news on that as well, so we can talk about that. But I haven't forgotten about the Garnacho thing, Rob, so we'll come back to that as well. Just slower than expected. I think we're slower than a snail on something slow. I mean, we are just ridiculous. I would take Ramsdale over Onana right now, instant upgrade. Mark, I would take a cardboard cutout of Ramsdale rather than Onana right now. Rat got in bed with the Glazers. I never get behind him. Exactly, Danny B. Exactly, my friend. I don't expect top 4, but I'll be happy with 5th, lol. Mate, I'd be over the moon with 5th. Again, how pathetic of me, and I'm not calling you that, my friend. I'm just saying how pathetic are Inos and the Glazers. That's our expectation, is not to win the league, is to come 5th, and we're happy with that. I mean, that is, as a concept, that is crazy. But right now, I would agree with that. Tenchi says Fernandes is an intelligent player. He's already said to go to Saudi. He's everything to United. He's a heartbeat for United. Tenchi, many fans share that, and I'm never gonna argue and say you're wrong on that one. My opinion is different on that one. I think that 30-year-old Fernandes is never going to win the league with us at the moment. I think that it's sad. If he was in a better team, maybe if we improved and he was younger, then I would say he would be up there. But as a sacrificial player, man, I'd be all over selling him. I'm not saying he doesn't add anything to the team, or without his goals last season, maybe we'd be in more danger than we would have been. But I think Fernandes for me is he the heartbeat of the team? He's the guy that runs around a lot. His performances last season, my friend. All I'm going to say on Fernandes, to those of you who, and this is not to, to say that you're wrong. This is to justify what my opinion is based on him. In the big games, he disappears. Okay, I will hold my hands up and say he's an engine. He's never injured. He's available. I don't dispute he doesn't love the clubs. The fans love him. I think he's scored so many important goals, but when it matters, he's not there. That final, where was he in the final? Now, you want a performance, a captain's performance. You want somebody to drag the team through. He can't do that. He disappears in the big games. For me, if he'd have got to that Champions League final, if he got us through to the Champions League, and that Spurs team was dross. Let's not pretend that Spurs team were awful. They were missing half of their team, the best players, but we were worse. Where was he then? And that's not fair necessarily to judge his career based on that. But he's a great player. I think he's a fantastic player. But when people start comparing him to Scholesy, and you can stat pad it, you can stats. Bruno is a stat padder. The eyes don't lie. My eyes don't lie to me, and I like him. I do not dispute that fans love him. I think he's a great player. I think that to replace him is going to cost you 120 million, but for me personally, I would have let him go this summer and rebuilt around different players, because he's not a captain for me. I don't think he has that. He just doesn't have that captain. I'd much prefer him to be less stressed. Let's see how he does this season. Let's see how he does. I think Amarin and his career are pretty much linked. So I hope, Tensu, that you are right. And I do hope he comes good this season. How dare he, lol. Let's have a little look. Stephanie. Good old Stephanie McMahon. I fully agree with you on Onana. His shine needs to go, exactly. Stephanie? No, not Stephanie McMahon. That'd be funny if she was in the chat. I know Triple H is a fan of West Ham, isn't he? Stephanie, welcome to the chat. United, Jane, always following, but never undertaking. Steph, you're everywhere. Hope you are okay. Um, Still think that Shaw needs to go. Rambo, mate. Shaw, world class Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw should have been gone a long time, mate. He needs to go. We should be patient till Shesco prefers us. Tensu, I'm patient. I personally am calm. Shesco has chosen us. It's when United are going to stick a bid in, and I'm expecting a bid anytime soon. So the agent has been holding up this deal. Let me read it again for those of you who just joined or don't know. I will just read out some of the quotes. So Fabrizio, and this is Fabrizio, sort of confirming it. Benjamin Sesko's agent arrived in Leipzig ahead of a key moment for the final decision. Manchester United told RB again on Saturday an official bid will follow after Newcastle's one if Shesco opens the door to the move, and that I think lies where all this is going to head. Is Shesco hasn't been taking this time to think about what is happening, and I'm sorry, Newcastle fans, because I do feel for you as well. We may banter each other as football fans, but ultimately fans are all in the same boat. Shesco, he was never coming to Newcastle. He was never going to go to Newcastle because was never going to go. Never going to go to Newcastle. They offered it last week, and if he was going to go, unless Newcastle now do something audacious, that's the only way they're going to win this race. But I think Shesco and his agent know where they want to go. They're just playing a little bit of a game because it's in their interest to have Newcastle and United battling it out in terms of a fee as well, because Shesco wants massive money, signing on fee. The agent wants a massive fee as well. So all that plays into this as well. And I've never been dissuaded from this. He's going to come to us. He made his decision last week. We've been waiting. I think it's all been agreed. But we are just waiting for him to secretly come to us and say, look, I want X amount of money, make this happen. And I think I think today, tomorrow, this is going to be done quickly because Newcastle are pushing this hard. So I think that's gonna go in our favour. Where are we? Sorry guys, I'm sniffling away. We should be patient. Rambo, not happy bit where we are in the moment. Fifth would be a successful season. Agreed, Rambo. I cannot disagree. Stephanie Griffith, if United get a fast unbeaten start, we might surprise a few people. And that, Stephanie, I agree with you as well there. Fantastic comment. I agree with you. If we catch Arsenal cold, that Chelsea, City worry me because I think they're a well-drilled, well-oiled team. But I think if we catch Arsenal cold, and as you say, we catch Fulham, if we have a good first 5 games, then I think that you almost start that belief. You look at Leicester, right, when they won the league. You look at Forest, right? They had a really good start to the season, and then you build confidence. This team needs confidence. When they go behind, that's when we're going to see, right? But they need confidence, and that is what we need. So I think it's spot on. I think if we go on a really good run in the first 5 games, Mark Harris is not going to be happy because Amrin will keep his job. I joke there, Mark. But yeah. I don't disagree with you on that one. I think anything is possible right now because we don't know. Rambo says, Bruno is always looking for his teammates to turn up as well. They just expect Fernandes to turn up. Not true. My beautiful United fans, the good times are coming. Have faith. Rambo, I'm loving your optimism. And again, with Bruno, I think, again, like Højlund, I think he's a victim of the team he's in. And I think to give Fernandes his dues, he's running around like a headless chicken, trying to get himself into positions of all his teammates around him, his lazy teammates who only think about himself. And he's busted his hump busted his gut. And when you've done that for so long, it's so hard to focus on a position. But let's see if Amarin can get himself. But Amarin has said today, Mark Harris, mate, whatever you're doing, I think you need to sit down for a second. If you're holding the tea, coffee, whatever you're doing, I think you need to hold on, mate, because Amarin has said today he wants to stay for 20 years. So, Mark's not going to be happy with that one. Where are we? Bruno is a luxury player. Yeah, I agree with that, Stephanie. Enzo92, please read and answer. How much present Man United get for Shesco? How much present Man United get for Shesco? How much are you asking? How much we'll pay for United, or how much will we get Shesco for? Sorry, that's me. I mean, I've got I think we'll get him for 72 to 75 million. I'm hoping I'm wrong on that one. I think that does border on very, very expensive. And I don't know how I feel about that. If I'm being brutally honest, 75 million, I still say from a financial perspective, it's fine in terms of the amortization from a business perspective. But as a deal, when many of you, not all of you, the odd person on here is saying that Inos are doing a good job, that for me is another Inos blunder. You can like a player, you can want him to do well, but you can also not like the amount of money that we pay for him. So I just hope that that's not going to be held against Shesco. That is, and that is not an Amarin fault. We can't aim that at him. Can't aim that at Shesco. This is aimed at Inos and the Glazer. So if we do that deal, really have we ultimately changed? I don't think that we have. Come back up to what Rob was saying before. So I'll come back and we'll go through the other chats as well. So Garnacho, Rob, as it stands, and again, I have taken the liberty. Chief Herbs in the chat, legend of the chat, my friend. So, according to Fabrizio, Garnacho is given his total priority to Chelsea. Talks took place on the player side. No negotiation yet. But that's, of course, not timing of the deal, not expected to be imminent. Well, good for you, Chelsea. Good for you. I couldn't care less. So, Garnacho, my friend, before this, I did have sympathy with him for the final, but how he's behaved and what he's doing now, just get out of the club, mate. I got no time for you. I think you're arrogant. I think you're petulant. I want you gone. What we spoke about this club and and what we've been through. Players died. Our young players died. What we've been through as a club coming back, and then Fergie coming in, instilling this club into, making us, one of the best clubs in the entire world, and then him leaving, the Glazers coming in and destroying this club, and then you've got players like that, these young players who believe is hype, and I'm sad to say that he's gone down a road whereby there's no return. I'm not the biggest fan of booing players. I'm not the biggest fan of booing, players. I'm too old for all that stuff. And I wouldn't necessarily boo him, but when he comes, because Chelsea's one of the first games, if he comes, which he won't do because he hasn't had a pre-season, and what makes me feel uncomfortable, and I think epitomises him as well, is he's more than happily 21 years old to sit on his arse, not have a pre-season, and give priority to Chelsea. Well, I've got news for him. It's not up to him. Like, the ball is not in his court. Okay, he does have a little bit of power, but the ball's not in your court, mate. Like, if we want to let you rot on a bench, then you will. I mean, I want him out of the club. I mean, and one of the things he's got to understand, and I do think this is quite a good point to make as well, is that we finished 15th last season. And it's not your choice that you're leaving the club. We've kicked you out. Like, Amarin's kicked you out. You've been kicked out of a club who finished 15th last season. I mean, how embarrassing is that for the player? 21 years old, so arrogant and petulant. that we now may have to sell him for a reduced price. And he's been kicked out of a team that finished 15th last season. He's not having a pre-season. He's not going to get into the Argentinian squad. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for him. Like, I don't understand what power he thinks he like has in this. Yes, he can devalue himself. I want him out the club, whether he's out the club or whether he rots in like the under 21s. I mean, I wouldn't even inflict him on them. I would just leave him just play reserve games. I want, and then if he doesn't want to play, then that's on him. But he's getting up there with the likes of a Sanchez now. No, I want him gone. I think he's and I hate it. I hate the fact that I feel this way about a youth player. But he's lazy, he's arrogant, and Amorim was right. I think Amorim called him out. And the worst thing more than anything else is the disrespect to fans. The disrespect to these young kids who had his haircut, the stupid haircut, who had their name on his shirt, who idolised him. His idol is Cristiano. His idol is like a Messi. He's nowhere near those levels. He's never going to be a level. They would have never not trained. They would have never have done anything like this. So he's a fool, and I just want him to go. So the fact that he wants to go to Chelsea, 60 million for you guys, 60 million, or I'd leave him rot. I mean, if we have to sell him, if we are financially bound to sell him, then we don't have a choice. And if we sell him for 35 million, is your problem. It just goes to show then, a team that finished 15th have got rid of you. It's not your choice. It's our choice. And the manager's kicked you out. So good luck to you, Garnacho. So I do hope he goes. And I basically hope that we make Chelsea pay 50 million for him. And then they can do one as well. That's on that one. Because they've obviously come to him to say, look, if you hold off until the end of the window, then we're gonna, we might be able to get you for cheap. Where's the class in that? I get it, but classless, absolute classless. Garnacho is a waste of man. Let him rot in the reserves. Tulip, I agree with you. Tulip, legend of the chat. Hello, Jonathan Bamba. Tulip, legend of the chat, as always. Mark Harris, 20 months. I hope you sat down for that one, Mark. United should move for Barcelona defensive. Casado after we get Shesco. Tend to see some cracking names as well there, buddy. We're going to move for somebody, and who knows? We may go for an out and a random one there. So let's keep our ears to the ground on that one. Remember, says a gentleman's agreement for Shesco will be around 60 to 70 million. No way 60, absolutely not. I may be wrong on that one. I'd be happier with 60 million, but I think we're around 70, 72 million. It might be 69 plus 7 or 8, but I think he's going to be the higher end of 60, early 70. So I think that's where we are. I feel like Shesco's holding out for money. I don't know. Jay, I agree with you, mate. I agree. I agree. I think his agent is I think his agent is holding it up because they want money, and that's what it's coming down to, mate. Money. They want money for Leipzig, but money for agent, money for a signing-on fee, and ultimately that's what it comes down to. So, no, I don't blame them for that. What if we could earn that sort of money? Would we behave in that way? Maybe. We don't know, but I think you're spot on. Garner is a waste of man. Let him rot. I agree with you, Chief Herb. May want to have a deal with Saudi. Yeah, I agree with that one. Jake Hartsfield offered Shesco move. Money is not the issue here. Yeah, money I don't think is the issue in terms of club to club, but I just think they're trying to get the best deal for Shesco. Signing on for... When agents are involved, agents are never going to go, don't worry about me, That's what he's there to do. He's there to get the best deal for his client. And when you've got two clubs and you've got Newcastle pushing hard, they know. So it's like this, right? And this is what I think is happening as well. Shesco knows that he wants to come to us. He doesn't want to go to Newcastle. 100% not. Even though he might get more money from them initially, you think about what his brand's going to do here. He will earn more money being associated with his image rights and that kind of stuff here. So say, for example, we offer him 200k and Newcastle offer him like 100k a week. The additional brand awareness, the additional image rights might be worth 300 grand a week, like, or 150k a week. So that's the instant bump that you get from simply being at this club. Instagram, he'll have an Instagram that will earn him money. He'll have a YouTube that will earn him money. He'll have TikToks that will earn him money. You know, brands will want to sponsor him. So when you go to Newcastle, sorry Newcastle, but you don't have that. You don't get that. That's not something that you can compete with. So that's what Shesco as well understands, and his agent will get that brand awareness, and he'll earn so much more money here, just image right, brand rights, you know, sponsorship deals, you know, that is what will happen here. So it's logical that he's going to come here, even when you think about that. So money wise, and I'm not concerned about that at all. In fact, I'm not concerned at all. Let's have a little look. Casado is young. Don't let him get his wish. Let him rot in the reserves. 30 mil isn't worth selling him. Teach him a lesson. Agreed. And I think we've said that on here before. Tulip, I agree with you. It's not about principle. It's about principle and not profit. I agree with you. Because you let him rot in the reserves, he's still going to be worth the same money next year. Like, he is worth 55 to 60 million this year. And the only person he's going to cut his nose off despite his face is him. So I'd let him rot. I'm not a fan of it, but I would. I'd let him rot in the reserves. And what's he going to do? He can spit his dummy out. He can wear as many football shirts as he likes, but he's going to damage his own reputation and brand. So I suggest he gets on with it and does what he can to make as much money for us as he can, and then sods off. Bro snubbed the Argentinian first team now. Judas at his finest. Yeah, he's a waste of time and effort. Rambo, what was going on is a spot brat. He learned from the best, Mr. Rashford. I don't expect, and from Sancho and Anthony as well. Let's not let him get off scot free either. Anthony is waiting around again on his arse, waiting for Betis. He wants a loan deal. These players want. Well, sometimes in life you don't get what you want, so he wants a loan deal. If we're forced into it, so be it. But again, he's another player that I had respect for, and this is why now you can see why Amorim was getting these, and the Anthony FCers, the Rashford FCers, the Sancho FCers, the Garnacho FCers have all gone quiet. And there's a reason why they've gone quiet, because they've individually shown now by their actions that Amorim was right, this club was right. You know, they've damaged themselves, and you know the fact they're kicking and screaming, "Oh, I want to go to Betis, I want to go to Chelsea." You don't have that power anymore. You've seen Rashford go on loan, but Barcelona wanted him. You know, so you know, I want to make an example of these players, and if financially we can, I want to make an example of these players to say, look, you know, if any of you squad you want to do this again, then guess what? Or make them go on a crappy loan deal, like make them go on a rubbish loan deal. So if for example they want to go to Chelsea, well, you're not going to go to Chelsea. So if you want to play in the World Cup, then maybe you need an Ipswich loan. Like I would do everything I could now to scupper these deals, and unless these teams come in and pay top whack, you can go and you can basically go and ply your trade elsewhere. And there's no disrespects to these clubs, and there's no, like, you know, that's not what I'm meant to say here. But you know, these players see themselves as Champions League, World Cup players. Well, maybe you need to go learn a bit of respect in a lower league, or learn a bit of respect at a club who have to fight hand and tooth, and you won't even get in to that squad. So let's see. Jay Rambo's 100% right. Is Mark Harris under 23s need to be sent to the first team? What's Tesco? Have a little look. I've missed a load of chats. Let's catch up with these. Enzo 92J United, but I think it's difficult about money. Shesco wants to go to United, holding for a decision. We are waiting and hope this becomes true. It is going to come true. Enzo, I am not. I dislike Garner and Sancho, the freedom fighters, more than Liverpool players, which is the real shame because I love them. And that's what makes it hard, Tulip. That's what makes it even harder, because you love these players. You give them your trust, and that's the thing here, isn't it? You give these players your trust, and then they break your trust, and they can't do anything then, can they? So I just, when they break your trust, that's it then, isn't it? They've gone. Any friendlies on United on before the United game? I don't know. Many. I have had a couple of pings to my phone. Newcastle 1, Tottenham 1. 83rd minute, Brendan Johnson and Harvey Barnes. I know that's on at the moment, so that's 1-1 with Newcastle. Rambo 50-60 for Ghana. If Chelsea think Felix was worth 50, then Garner's worth 50-60. I agree with you, mate. I think, mate, for Chelsea, it's 100 million, but they're never going to play that. So, yeah. Jay, Enzo, he's right. Yeah, I think I agree. If Chelsea think Mount is worth 60, I agree, Jay. I think we need to hold them accountable to that. This week's game is tonight. Let's see if Mbemba and Cunha play tonight. We do need to get a goalkeeper 10-2. I agree, mate. I can't even hate Salah over Garnacho at this point. I mean, Salah, obviously you dislike him because he's such a good player, right? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong in being envious or disliking a different club. I mean, it's all based on success and banter, isn't it? But yeah, these imagine disliking your own players more than a rival club. I mean, that is what this club has done to us, and these players have. Would EA26 change its name to Tesco? So we will have Bruno, Fernandes, and Tesco's. Let's see, shall we? Garnacho will never be compared to Salah's left toenail. Exactly. Lee, love it, Lee. What does Lee say? There he is. Well, Lee, you're more than welcome here, my friend. Anything you say about... I've got respect for your club, my friend. And anything that I do say is just banter, really. Toonami getting Shesco. Lee, not on your life, my friend. Absolutely not. Unless Newcastle go in and go 80 million, 400, 500k a week, which you can't anyway because of FFP and PSR, you are not getting him, my friend. Absolutely not. There is no chance. Lee, how confident are you getting Tesco? What Tesco? 10-2, I think Shesco is not going depending on money. Lee says, Jay, I'm about 70%. What's that based on, mate? What's your 70% based on? I'd love to know. Again, I mean, if you're basing that on logic, then great. But Lee, you do know that Newcastle came in for him last week with having a free run at it because United were sitting on their butts, debating over a cup of coffee and a biscuit about shall we go for Watkins, shall we go for Shesco? We're not sure. Newcastle got in there early doors, mate, and they were talking to the player, trying to get this deal done, but they didn't do it. So, Lee, I am 90% sure that, 95% sure that we're going to get this deal done. The only 5% comes from that you've got Isaac. You can get a deal for 130 mil done, and you may come in and offer stupid money, and that's the only way that you get this deal done, my friend. But other than that, mate, he ain't he ain't coming to you. And there's no disrespect to your club. Even if he did, you can offer him, he will be your new star, Champions League, that may apply to some people, mate. But ultimately, when you're looking at who's the bigger club and who would you go to, it's not Newcastle. But that's my opinion, and you can come and correct me if you win. Chief Herb says, fraud or FC 11. I think Newcastle have changed striker target. I think they'll get Wizza instead. I think they'll go and get him done. Watkins or Wizza, maybe both. I think that's where they're going to end up. That's why he's waiting for United to bid Lee. Exactly. I wouldn't be too gazed about Shesco. He's improving. EPL like Hoyland. Lee, have you seen Lookman has put a transfer request in? Yes, I have. I think that's I think he'd be I think he'd be good. I think he'd be good for you as well. If Newcastle don't get Shesco, you go for Watkins, but Villa won't sell unless they can replace him. I think Wizza. I think Newcastle Wizza. I think he'd be great for them. Newcastle Champions League, and I genuinely mean this, Lee. I hope you do really, really well in there, mate. I will be supporting you in the Champions League. I hope you do extremely well in that. We will see. We have shown him our hand by the bid, and we are looking to put in another bid. Lee, my friend, money at the moment, I think money is inconsequential. And I think he is waiting for us to put in a bid. But stranger things have happened. Our new head of recruitment has connections with Sesko. I think he's pushing this for this to happen. I'd rather see Newcastle get Shesco for 150 mil, 400k a week, breaks the bank, and be the new City. Exactly. I think that is if Newcastle could do that, and I think it's really frustrating for Newcastle fans to have all that money and not be able to compete. I mean, who amongst us, as much as it would be a pain in the butt, if Newcastle won the league and they started to overthrow the top three or four, I'd have no complaints over it. I think they're a good club. I think their fans are brilliant. I think they're an ambitious club. I think they've got a good squad. They've got a good coach. And I hope they do well next season. So I hope you go far in the Champions League. Leave Shesco alone. But yeah, I genuinely hope that you do well next season. Rambo, as you said it yourself, just by joining United, he'll be worth more than just exactly. And I think that's what it is as well. We are a chop draw, mate, and Newcastle will have to pay him really, really big money. I don't think the first bid was rejected. They're stalling hope. Exactly. I prefer Wizard over Shesco, says Jay. I like Wizard as well. I'm in this right. I'm in this predicament where right now I don't prefer any of the strikers. Like whoever we go for, it's a gamble. I mean, if I was going to pick a striker, I probably would have gone for Gyökeres. Can't lie, I've said that before, and an Osimhen. Those two would be my choices, right? Anything else for me is a gamble. I think we're going to get Shesco. Whether I think we should get him or not, I'm confident that we will, and then we'll need to see what will happen. So Shesco for me, it wasn't my number one, not even my 2 or 3. Ekitike for me as well wasn't. I'm not sold on him either. So I don't really have a preference, if I'm being honest. If a gun was held to my head, I'd probably go Watkins, and then maybe Shesco. You can look at Mateta, Wizard as well. So I think if a gun was held to my head, Watkins, because of his goals and assists, he's expensive, and then I would then go one of Shesco, Mateta, Wizard, take your pick from that. So that's where I'm sort of at, but I still maintain that we're going to get Shesco. Lee says we will go for Wizard as a Wilson replacement, and again, I think that's a very logical thing to say there, mate. I do think Newcastle will go for 2. I think you are going for 2, but it won't be Shesco, mate. I think it'll be Watkins and Wizard. You've got more chance of getting Wizard. Chief Don't see shirt sales on Newcastle kit. Sorry, not globally. Agree. Honestly, wouldn't lose a night's sleep if we lose Tesco to Newcastle, says Danny B. But I love the new kit though. Don't get me wrong. Good morning to you all. Prince Ats. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you are doing very, very well. Just the afternoon here. But good morning to you. Jay says we couldn't afford 70 odd mil for Osherman, but we can't afford it for Shesco. It doesn't make sense to me. Jay, if I remember correctly, it wasn't so much the money. Well, it was two things. Number one, Napoli wanted 35-40 million pound up front, which we don't have, and Osherman wanted, I think it was 350 after tax, so it was 500k a week. And the tax laws and rules in Turkey are slightly different. So there were two aspects for that. Osherman for me would have been the deal to do, but Napoli wanted, I think, 45 million up front pounds, and he wanted 350k a week. It was about 500 grand a week. So that was just no. Something seems off all about this. If a gun had to be held to my hand, I'd go for Wizard. Need that in Burmo combo. The wage was the problem. Exactly. Last little bit before I go, I just want to mention something's definitely come out as well on the stadium. So apparently, I did have it ready to go. Where are we? So according to the Guardian, and I think this is quite interesting, Manchester's Wembley or the North Stadium hits the buffers. So Freight who own the line outside the stadium, are demanding that United have deemed this land is worth 50 million. Freightliner want 400 million for this land. So they're not going to get all their own way. Now the problem here is that obviously Freightliner do own all the operating and that kind of stuff. So United are going to make billions and billions and billions of pounds out of this. So why shouldn't they hold their ground and ask for 400 million? Why should they give this land to them for cheap? They shouldn't, because they know United are going to make absolute billions. I think something like 7.2 billion a year or something ridiculous like that. So that's what they're going to make. So why should Freightliner sell it for 50 million to these scumbags? Now the only problem, and I was kind of looking at this initially, kind of celebrating, thinking, oh, this is fantastic news. I'm really, really happy about this news. But sadly, there is something called a compulsory sale. Now, what could happen here is that the Churex Stadium, love it. And the only problem here is something called a compulsory buy. So the government, if they get involved, because they are involved in this, could force Freightliner to sell that land to the Glazers for 50 million. So it's just a little bit of news there, or a little bit of hope for us fans who actually do not want, who want the Glazers to go, who potentially could scupper the deal. Yeah, I think we should keep. I think we should keep our ears to the ground in this one as well, because this could mean if the government want back this, then we could have a pathway here to the Glazers and Inos out. But also it could just mean that if they do get that done, then I think that's the final piece of the jigsaw for them to get this stadium built. I'll look at the couple of chats before I go. Lee says we offered 65 up front for the deal yesterday. I think it was 65.4, I think, mate. Plus 4.4, which again is around what they wanted. But I think Newcastle would come in with a much bigger deal than that. I think they'll go 72, 75. Osherman wanted 300k exactly. Chief Herb says, no, I know you guys can do better than the next bid. Should go up to 100 million. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that one. Then you should be worried if it wasn't accepted. He tells me he leaned to... I'm going to say this, mate. He's not leaning towards us. He's literally falling over, mate. United's approach carries a degree of risk. They're waiting for the players' approval before making a decisive move. RB Leipzig, however, are keen to avoid that scenario. They want multiple clubs in the race. Exactly, and again, I think you're right, mate. I think that we could be priced out of this deal. We still, that's the only way right now we're not going to get this deal done is if Newcastle price us out. That's the only way right now, and I can't say that might not happen, but I think we are going to know very, very soon. Glazer's out, Inos out. Exactly, Rob. I agree with you. Once Team Shesco gives the green light to Club A or B, it's effectively out of the picture. Exactly that. John Arne Fjortoft used to play for, was he City? I think he did. Can't remember now, but I remember him as a player. Lee says, but if we offer RB 80 and say you offer 65, then he's going to say no to the lower fee. Not necessarily, Lee. It's because it's where Shesco wants to go. So ultimately, we won't offer 60 because that will be 65. That will be ridiculous. But Lee, if you guys offer £80 million, mate, he's yours. Absolutely yours. I mean, at that point, I'm out. As much as I'm still in the camp and I will maintain he has agreed to come to us. £80 million, Lee, and he's yours, mate. You can have him for that. I'm at that point. I am out. Absolutely out. Yes, Lee. They still unfortunately say no for places. Yes, all depends on where the player wants to go. Chief Herb, you shouldn't bargain. You shouldn't bargain with RB. If you're going head to head, just go big or go home. And that's exactly 100 million to Newcastle. You lot are mad rich. They are cheap, but do you know what? They can't get the money out, mate. They cannot get the money out of the club. And on that note, guys, I'm at 65. Never mind 80. Danny B, I'll give you the last word, my friend. Great comment as usual. Well, guys, I am suffering now. I'm going to go and have a nice little sleep because Joel's in the chat, legend of the chat. Thank you, my friend. I'll get ready for a stream tonight. I am going to try and do the stream tonight. I'm going to have to go and just have a little sleep because I feel so dreadful. But again, thank you for being here with me. Absolutely immense. You know, everyone in the chat: Danny B, Rambo, Joel, Jay, Chief Herb, Rob. Stephanie's in there as well. I'll try and give you all a shout out. Lee, fantastic. Thank you for being here, mate. I just feel really, really bad for you that YouTube doesn't offer you such a good chat. You're welcome here anytime, my friend. Thank you for the comments and being here. They said Rambo, Rob, Enzo. Who else we got in here? Mark Harris, as always. Who else have we got in here? Tulip Plays. Cannot forget Tulip Plays because legend of the chat. You're all legends, to be fair now. Tensu. Where are we? Keith as well. So many of you in the chat now. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing in the chat. G-Wolf is in here as well. Bloody hell, guys. So much chatting. Hesty as well. So thank you so much for being here, guys. I'll always say this, and this is going to be my thing that I will always say, and I think it's really important to thank you guys for this, is that one thing you can't buy is time. And I'll always say that it's really amazing that you guys give me your time. It means so much to me, and I think it means so much to each other in the chat as well. You know, I love this. I really feel like this is becoming like a little family on here now. We all got our views, and I think we're all starting to know how we all feel about this club. I love our own little views. We agree on some things. We don't agree on some things as well. As Rob says, thanks, mate. Don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, get involved in the chat. We are getting bigger. And we are going to take over. We're basically like, if I was going to liken us to something, I would say that we are like the Attitude Era. We are coming for the big guns. You know, we're going to overtake them. You know, we're here. We are the best community. The intelligent chat in here is just amazing, and I'm privileged and fortunate. I'm proud of this chat now, and what we are building together here. So, thank you so much. I'm going to go. I'm going to drink my drink, rest my voice, and get ready for tonight. If you can join me, I'll try and get on about 9:15, 9:30. Hopefully, Shesco. If anything does break with Shesco, I'll be straight back on. If I'm in bed, I draw the line at the toilet, but I will jump back on here as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, guys. 6K soon. Cheers, Chief Herb. All thanks to you guys. And of course, I will see you very, very, very soon, guys. Legends all. And thank you so much. And I'll see you this evening.